Hi guys, what's going on? This is Namkraft and welcome to another series of Starcraft English commentary. Let's continue on with ASL Season 20 Group C of Round of 24. We're going to be getting some nice, balanced, evenly matched players now, finally. Soma versus Ssak. Soma, very, very strong these days, and Ssak, of course, is always a contender for serious business. Of course, he will never win an ASL, but he's been in several rounds, going very deep in the tournament. Is that a fan of Park Sang-hyun? Is Soma's fan? These girls are slightly less attractive than the fans of Mini, I guess. I'm not so sure. My objective evaluation of female beauty is not the best, measurement of truth here. What are those guys? The guy looks Chinese, and the guy on the right side, he looks like Cyan SC, right? Kinda. Anyways, what can we take? What can we, talk about between these two players? Maybe I'm just gonna quickly show you some information. So once again, the map is still Dominator. Nothing has changed. This will always be the same map for all of the round of 24 first two games. And let's look at the map stats. So Dominator is one of the older maps, 44.9, 55% for Zerg versus Terran. So this map is slightly Terran flavored. If you look at these maps, right, then the new ones are Litmus, Knockout, and Roaring Current. I think the map maker has done a good job for the TVZ matchup because they introduced a nice kind of balanced feel, right? Because before, Zerg were heavily dominated, no pun intended, by Terran. But now with the introduction of Litmus, and to a certain extent, maybe Knockout, well, I guess no, just Litmus, right? It introduced a new element, and now this matchup is very, very balanced. The same could not be said about the other matchup. So this is the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. And I guess Knockout does introduce some nice elements, so now it's quite balanced. Now Knockout and Roaring Current is doing a good job of driving the map pool towards that direction, but Litmus is very, very bad. And for the Terran versus Protoss matchup, it is looking still Terran flavored. And possibly even more so. Litmus, Roaring Current, and Knockout are the worst map for Protoss against Terran. So that's basically the balance situation by these, for these maps at the current understanding. Of course, there's going to be more data coming through, but let's talk about this game a little bit, maybe, before we talk about something else. Soma versus Ssak. Soma located at the 3 o'clock position, Ssak located at the 11 o'clock position. This is a 3-player map. And of course, naturally, this will be favoring Ssak because look at the drop distance between Sakk's expansion and Soma's main base. I mean, this will be very fast. Around 10 minutes, 12 minutes-ish, he's going to drop some stuff. While Soma is trying to expand out here. Possibly, he will take this base at the 4:30, or maybe he's going to be a little bit more ambitious and try to take this entire 7 o'clock areas, and that's going to be very, very tough. But anyways, overall, you can see the expansion going on, so this is going to be very, very standard. Let me just quickly show you the ELO scores this week just to show where exactly these guys are standing respectively. So there we have it. Here are the ELO scores, and Soma at 1362, Ssak at 1244 are the respective ELO scores of these players. Soma is arguably better. He's considerably better in terms of ELO scores. In terms of win rate, Ssak against Zerg is 51%, Soma against Terran is 53%, so the two players are kind of evenly matched in that regards, but still, overall, with the ELO scores of Soma being a lot better, that's going to be very, very tricky for Ssak to deal with. Anyways, looks like we have a factory. So this could be a mech-ish build. I think it's possibly going to be 1-1-1 factory and then directly into starport. And then directly into possibly a Valkyrie. The rush distance for Mutualist is not actually that great for Soma. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not super great. I mean, he would kind of have to go through this expansion if he wants to go in the main. Okay, he can just take this flying path here. Of course, it's slightly longer, not much longer. So I think it's kind of basically a very, very normal situation for Zerg harassment. But for Terran drop, however, it's immensely easy to do drop for Terran in the mid game. So we shall see how these players are going to be performing. By the way, let me give you once again some stats for the ASL before we actually, get into the battles, right? So here are the 4 players in this group, and here are the accomplishments in the 19 ASL season we've had. Mini has made 17 round of 24, 13 round of 16, 7 quarters, 5 semis, excuse me, 7 round of no, that's quarterfinals. That's right. 5 semis, 4 finals, and he's only been winning 1 final. Soma is not a ASL champion. He's been in finals only 1 time. Ssak has been in many round of 24, but he's failed to kind of go past that much time. Of course, Saber is brand new, so that's what we have. And yeah, let's talk about this game now. What are we seeing from both of these players? I guess we're going to be waiting for Mutuals to pop and start to move towards the Terran side. Turrets that are coming up. Vultures, of course, will be very useful right now to see if there's any Zerlings coming around and try to snipe the drone, but it's kind of hard. These Mutuals have purposely tried to fly this way to escort that drone into the safe area. And now Vultures will return. I think Ssak has done the right timing. He knows that around this time, there could be Mutuals moving away, and Soma has not. Okay, he puts down Hatchery at just the right moment. A few seconds later, and that hatchery would have been cancelled, and that would very put a very interesting light on this game because we want Ssak to have a slight advantage. Anyway, 6 Mutuals go in, and do we have Valkyrie yet? I don't see them yet. This turret is kind of exposed. The Valkyrie is still out there attacking Overlord, and Ssak has done waffle himself. Keep in mind that Ssak is a mech man. He is not a bio man. He doesn't like to go for Marines. I mean, Marines are for pussies. Sorry for swearing, but basically that is Sakk's thinking. That is his philosophy. It is his style, his characteristic, his personality. Anyways, 6 Mutuals and Scourges start to move across the map. Ssak has not lost any vultures though, so he is gonna start to lay some mine. He lays 1-2 mines here. That is gonna stop any kind of Zerglings, because during this time, sometimes what the Zerg player likes to do is attack the main with the Mutuals and suddenly dive in with some Zerglings. And that's the worst thing that a Terran player would like to see at this stage. But anyways, the Scourges are waiting to snipe those Valkyries. They're not yet destroyed. And why are the Valkyries attacking something else? Looks like 1 Valkyrie was sniped. We still have 6 Mutas. No, we have 9 Mutas and 1 Scourge. There's some Marines coming out there, and another Scourge hits on the Valkyries. This Valkyries will fall as well. Looks like he's still alive. The Mutas takes a lot of hits though. How many Mutas remain? 8. But the Valkyrie count has been dwindling very hard, and Vultures attacking this new base is going to be very interesting. I think the turret was sniped there. The barracks need to come up very fast. Marines are trying very hard to kind of get created. The Vultures I think can leave now because the Mutuals will be going to that area at some point in the future. But very nice minefield around these areas for Ssak to see if there's any troop movement in and out, so he can know exactly when to move his Vultures away. And this base has been deactivated for a while. Queen's Nest coming up. The Mutuals will finally arrive. I think 1 Vulture's already left the area. The 2nd Vulture will leave us. So Ssak is actually not doing too shabby himself. He's bought himself some time to get his new Valkyrie fleet out. We need to have more turrets in the main. I think the number of turrets is quite low, only 3. I mean, in these kind of matchup, you want to be building a turret. Another Valkyrie gets sniped. You want to be building 3 turrets to start, and then every 30 seconds or 1 minute, you need to be building another turret. And you might have up to 5-6 turrets if possible, especially when the Zerg player is going massive air like this. Some nice attacks, and he needs to snipe that Marine. He does go for it, so he gets that Marine to snipe, not bad. Another Marine that pops in the barracks will fall right away, so nice for Soma to trade well in these scenarios. And now the Hydralisks have started to make their faces known. Look at those minefields just getting laid there for nothing, and of course just watching the drones passing by. In their lives. This Vulture return. Oh my god, he will massacre every single drone. No! Very lucky that drone turned into an extractor. And now the Mutuals have been in the right location to clear off the minefield. This will buy time for Ssak to once again build up his Valkyrie fleet. He's still got his 2 Valkyries. One is gonna get repaired. And Ssak is checking for the timing of the Defiler mount. If he sees no Defiler, he's gonna be feeling very safe to start to move out at some point in the future. And he wants to strike with 2 tanks, possibly. Now, here is something that I've been fearing a lot, guys, when you are a Terran player going mech like this, which is that you don't have science vessels. I mean, you are basically just trying to make as many Valkyries as possible, and detection becomes a problem. Scourges dive in, but they don't fully hit on that Valkyrie. That Valkyrie has lived. And now, I guess he's gonna have to face a lot of pressure here. So more Vultures coming out to lay mine. Ssak is once again a mech man. Look at those nicely placed and cunningly placed Valkyrie, stop lurkers. If the mines can get laid right next to those lurkers, it would trigger the lurker, but no, the mine is just laid at not the right place here. And Zerling's coming out, and that should signal to Ssak, why do you have a Zerling coming out to clear my mines right as I place it? I feel like sometimes the players need to be using a little bit of their intuition. It's like, why are you trying to drive me towards that area on the map? Do you have some lurker trap set up for me? Those kind of intuitive thinking is gonna be incorporated into Starcraft gameplay, because nothing ever happens by chance in Starcraft. It's very rare. You are here because you want to protect something, or you want to make me believe that there's something there. There's always a reason for that. Anyways, the fourth base is trying to going up for Soma. Where are the science vessels? We need to have science vessels now. Valkyrie's gonna be very, very careful. There's gonna be a dive in. One Valkyrie lives. No, the Valkyries all live, and they're gonna start to go to work on the mutas, or maybe to the overlords, and the lurkers are not yet deploying themselves. So Marines will have to run fast like hell into the backside here. The lurkers gonna try to come out. And where are the tanks? I think there's one tank, but he's not being used, and the Marines gonna have to run once again. So very, very nice for Ssak to not yet lose this group of Marines. And the Valkyries are sniping a lot of overlords, which is great, but keep in mind the Scourges can still come out at some point in the future. And more drones coming out here, but a single lurker as well as some Zerlings protect this base nicely. Ssak has started and is going well with his mech transition. He needs to start to lay some mines. I have mentioned several times on my channel that I believe personally when you're playing mech versus Zerg, it's very hard. It's very hard. One of you have pointed out that playing SK Terran is a little bit harder, but I have to disagree here, because of course you need to micro the Marines heavily. You need to actually individually target the mutas and stuff like that, but you're not multitasking. You are basically just micromanaging your Marines, right? I feel. Whereas if you are doing mech, you're actually doing different kinds of actions, like completely different. You're putting the mines on the field, you're microing the Goliaths, the tanks, of course you're making units, of course, and it's fundamentally a different kind of action that you're doing. So I feel like it's a lot more intensive, and the fact that many strong players, even Flash, forgets to put mines on the field because there are just way too many things to think about. It's just, I guess, another proof, in my opinion, that this mech strategy against Zerg is really hard to execute. Of course, the number of barracks you have to deal with is a lot more, so that's a point taken that one of you have mentioned. But I feel like when your barracks are hotkey, it doesn't take much. You're not context switching with your brain, right? Because clicking M 8 times, it's the same kind of activity. Of course, it takes maybe 8 times longer. If each time takes 1 milliseconds, then it takes 8 milliseconds or whatever, right? But you're not having to context switch, and context switch is a #1 cause of work inefficiency, according to a lot of research papers. For example, you're doing some kind of document analysis in your company, right? And suddenly you have to switch into a meeting, and suddenly your boss comes over and says, "Oh, hey, can you make me some coffee?" So all of those things will force your brain to context switch, and there is where the delay happens, because you cannot switch your brain fast enough. You'd like to do the same task over and over. That is the best way to keep yourself efficient, not having to context switch. Anyways, I digress. Back to this game. Ssak is going to come out. If I look at this game very, very objectively, I think that Ssak is not doing so bad, because when you're playing mech, you don't really need to be like making massive amount of bases and controlling the map. You just need to lay out the mines. Mines are the single most important unit in the entire strategy of mech versus Zerg, I believe. Anyways, tanks are coming out on these various maps. And Zerglings are going to get destroyed. And very, very smart for Ssak to snipe all of those Zerglings before they trigger the mines, because you do want to save the mines for more useful targets. Anyways, one tank might fall. No, Ssak is going to push his units back, but the Defiler is here to do Plague. No, he does a Dark Storm instead, and these tanks have ventured way too far from home. So that's going to be a problem here. This 1 o'clock base goes up. I'm not so sure if Soma knows about it. At some point in the future, he's going to start to send some forces over there to take care of that base. Anyways, overlords are going to come out. For now, it's just going to be spawning, but in the future, we might have Zerling drops. Of course, when the enemy is going to be going for mech, you do want to be going for Ultless. Oh my god, Ssak is not paying attention. He might eat a lot of lurker spine. Okay, the queen festation has started. We have about 5-6 queens now. There will be more in the future. So let's see how Ssak will handle with it on the supply chart. Soma at 150 supply, Ssak with 140. Some turrets getting created. This is not a bad idea. You do want to have some turrets to kind of counter the queen's threat and maybe Drop's threat. Anyways, this 1 o'clock base will completely get clear up. The turrets is gonna get repaired. The tanks will lay out, will lay themselves up. We need to actually have the turrets in front of the tank. Nice scan by Ssak to know that there are some queens already on the map. The question, he doesn't know how many, because you kind of reasonably expect to have some queens, but you don't know how many. Zerglings gonna try to come out. There are 2 tanks. The vultures need to go to work here. They get all of these Zerglings, but the 2 Zerglings that we attacking the tanks on the high ground. More attacks coming from this other side of the map, and I think Ssak might have too much on his plate. It's going to be very, very tricky. Where are the Defiler? No? Okay, there are the Defilers. That Defiler might get sniped. If you can actually lay some mines next to the Lurkers, would be something here. The tanks will have to fall back fast. 1 tank has fallen. And he's gonna be just maybe going for try to go for splash damage here. But you need to lay more mines. And the Defiler will cast a nice Dark Swarm here, but that Lurker has been stopped short of reaching the tank line. We're going to be having the Defiler getting sniped. The Vultures, as you can see, are not laying mines fast enough. You needed to have mines in all of these areas. All of these areas needed to have mines, but you're not able to have them. And now the Zerling is going to try to attack, but at the last minute, the Defiler possibly was sniped or something. We're going to be having Zerling drop at some point in the future, but Ssak isn't doing too shabby. His 4 bases is thriving. He need to have more mines, and always more mines is what you need to really have here. To stop the Zerg from expanding. There's going to be some Zergling drop in terms of upgrade. +2 Carapace, +1 weapons. For the Zergling, +2 weapons and +1 armor. For the tanks, the 1 Defiler is going to be playing hide and seek with that SCV in the corner. These vultures, what are they doing? They need to be laying mines all the way out to this 1 o'clock position, and even more, even further. And I would even advise, players to just not even group vultures together. You need to be laying mines in separate locations. Don't even bother going for 3 mines in the same location. Instead, because you're going to be doing it 1 click, right? So in that, you just need to, put 1 mine here, 3 mines there, 2 mines there, and instead of just going for all mines in the same locations. Anyway, so there's going to be a Zergling drop. This base from Ssak is going up nicely. There's going to be the Defiler coming through, but this force is too skinny. It's too small. It's too small. That last Lurker will fall, even with the double Dark Swarm. Eventually it will wear out, and the nice science vessels to actually get one of the Lurkers destroyed. So that's good. But the Zerlings are doing a lot of good hits. So I guess this command center might be forced to be cancelled. I'm not so sure. Let's see how the things are going to be going on. These vultures are carrying these. Like I told you, they need to be laying mines all the way down to the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock positions. And actually Ssak is positioning some of his tanks at home because he's fearing a drop. Ssak nearing max out. Ssak isn't doing too shabby. But now the real test comes, which is Ultras. Can he kind of hold on to this Ultralist madness here, this Ultralist nightmare? More mines gonna get laid, and 1 Ultras eat 3 mines. Not bad. The science vessels coming out. In mech, you need to not forget that you also need to make some science vessels. A lot of queens are coming out. Can you actually go for that spell that they get rid of the energy on the queens? Is it possible? I think it's possible, right? EMP. No, maybe EMP doesn't work on queens. But anyways, looks like someone's going to try to attack into this base here. This is a weak spot because Ssak is defending 2 bases in this side. He might get cut on the sun. These tanks are not sieging. They have not sieged. Siege is not the path of siege. Excuse me. I just was thinking randomly. Anyway, something happened here. Now Queen's going to try to come out to get rid of these tanks. Nice attacking. Not enough Goliaths. I think 6 tanks died instantly there, but now all of the queens have been exhausted. That Ultras have been destroyed. Zerl is going to be within reach of those tanks, and those tanks will fall very fast. You need to repair. 1 tank has fallen. Vulture is going to try to repair. Not bad. You need to get another tank, maybe with some supply depot on that path to slow down the Zerlings. If Ssak can hold, he might try because he's got his 5 bases. I guess not anymore because this base at this at 930 position is actually not really available anymore. Anyways, a lot of Zerlings are coming through, but the vultures are buying some time. Only 1 tank is a problem. You need to have more tanks, not just 1. You need to have 2 or 3 tanks in these areas. Okay, there we're going to be having the replacement tanks, and now they're going to be sieging nicely here. These tanks will need to fall back. Looks like Ssak is not paying attention. He's paying attention now. He pulls his tank back. This game is very nice. I really enjoy this kind of high-level mech game against Zerg, so I'm going to start to use this time to actually thank some of my fans who have supported me in the last 20 days. Their names are here: Mr. Nolasco, Mr. Thomas from the Netherlands, Mr. Chen and the Observatory Boy, And Mr. Sea Gobbler, thank you very much for support. I guess that's gonna be the end of that because we need all of the attention we have to actually cover these battles. 4 outlets down to 2 outlets, but they get most all of the tanks destroyed. Only these vultures remaining though, and the turrets actually providing a very nice wall for the vultures. But will it be enough? Looks like the 3 outlets are gonna come out, and some of the tanks will have to reinforce from the lower side of the map. There, the science vessels. Will they go for some kind of irradiate on those units? I'm not so sure, but I think Soma has got so much. I think Soma has started this snowballing effect, and now it's gonna be impossible for Ssak to win. But at least tanks are providing some nice coverage. But like you see here, there's not enough mines. If without mines, those tanks are sitting ducks. You need to have mines in front of them. You need to have blocking units. I mean, blocking units takes a long time to build. So going for mines is the best way. These tanks without siege mode are so weak. And I guess he clears out the last of the outlets, but now he needs to kind of reset his siege positions and retake this 10-30 position. Okay, some vultures coming out to buy time. Not bad, not bad. Massive cracklings coming through. This nice mine explosion on all of those Zerglings. Siege your freaking goddamn tanks and set up your mines. Come on. I know, of course, in theory, it's very easy to say, but it's very hard to execute at this high level. APMY, Ssak 330, Soma 185. Queens comes out again to get rid of all these tanks because there were no turrets and there were no Goliaths. More Queens coming out, and they will get rid of all of those tanks, and they will go back and try to get even more energy to Ssak. I feel like he's kind of falling apart. The entire bottom left is gonna go to Soma now. If Ssak, what can Ssak do? I mean, he needed to reset up his siege line and lay a lot of mines. Cracklings are coming. Look at this. These tanks cannot siege. They cannot siege because they're what is it? The front line are not secured, so they don't want to smash their own units. So that's going to be the problem. So I guess Soma has done well for himself into the 5 level. Cast a nice Dark Swarm over these units, and these tanks are attacking under Dark Swarm without siege, without splash damage. It's gonna be impossible for Ssak to win. His supply has fallen down so low. 110 supply versus 180, and this base has been under siege for so many times. 5 carapace and 2 weapons on those outlets. I guess this game will be ending soon. I had so much hope for Ssak, but this is gonna be the end of the second game. We will see Soma versus Mini in the third set. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.